Hello everyone. In this lecture, I want to talk about the organizational influence on a project management process. Projects are not standalone. They exist in a larger organizational context, such as a company. So the organizational factors could have strong influences on your project management process. In this lecture, I want to break down the organizational influence into three subtopics, including the organizational culture influence, the organizational structure influence, and the enterprise environmental influence on a project management. Let's talk about the organizational culture influence. First, what is an organizational culture? There are several ways to define this concept. In this class, we define it as a shared norm among organizational members. It would be difficult to convince everybody to believe in the same norm, but if most of your organizational members agree on a norm, then this norm would be one of your organizational cultures. For instance, if most of your employees would like to take new challenges, then being innovative would be your organizational culture. However, if most of your employees want to keep the status quo of your company, then being conservative would be your company's organizational culture. An organizational culture is not a legal contract between a company and its employees, but it can provide several supports to a project management. Because an organizational culture is shared by most employees, if a project manager considers an organizational culture, he or she is more likely to share the same visions, beliefs, and values with the project members. If a project manager considers an organizational culture when creating the reward policies, sanction policies, and the codes of conduct, the project members are more likely to follow these policies and code of conduct. These are the influence of organizational culture on a project management. Let's talk about the organizational structure influence. First, what is an organizational structure? We define it as an arrangement of business resources and responsibilities. Before we talk about how this factor influence a project management, let's take a look at what types of structures exist in practice. Even though a variety of structures exist in companies, we can summarize all of them into three abstract models. They are the functional structure, matrix structure, and the projectized structure. Let's talk about them one by one. First, functional structure. If a company uses this structure, the entire company will be separated into departments according to each department's respective functions. For instance, accounting department, finance department, marketing department, manufacturing department, and supply chain management department. In each department, there is a department manager. All of the managers work for the CEO. In such a company, a CEO usually plays a role as a project manager. If a new project comes out, the CEO will work with the department managers, and then the department manager will assign the tasks to their department employees. Second, matrix structure. If a company uses this structure, the company will still be separated into different departments according to their functions. Besides that, there is a project manager role. The CEO will give the project development to the project managers, and then the project managers will coordinate with department managers, get the employees they need for a new project. This is the matrix structure. The last one is the projectized structure. If a company uses this structure, the company would be separated into different project teams. Each team has its own accountants, financial managers, developers, supply chain team, and so on. A project manager would have the absolute authority in controlling his or her project team. The team members only work for their project manager. They are independent from other projects. Does this structure look familiar to everyone? Yes, many IT companies use this structure a lot. Google would be a good example company that uses a projectized structure. For instance, under Alphabet, the mothership company, Google has the search engine division, the Google AdSense division, the YouTube team, and so on. A developer who works for Google AdSense will only work for the AdSense manager, but not the YouTube manager. These are the frequently used organizational structures in practice. Now let's talk about how they can influence a project management. Since the projectized structure is broadly used in practice, let's start our discussion from this structure. The projectized structure has several advantages. For instance, the project teams are highly goal-oriented. The team members in each project have very clear responsibilities. They know which project manager they work for. But this structure could bring some issues. For instance, the project teams are highly focused and independent. If there is a lack of communications, then they could miss an opportunity to collaborate with each other. I think Google presents a very good lesson to project managers. As I just mentioned, Google AdSense and YouTube are two independent project teams under Alphabet Company. The main purpose of Google AdSense is to publish online advertisements. The focus of YouTube is to provide online networking and video sharing service to its users. Then the two division managers say, hey, why don't we collaborate with each other? YouTube has millions of useful and interesting videos. Let's plug in the Google AdSense advertisements into YouTube videos so that the advertisements can be seen by more viewers. If you work for a company with a projectized structure in the future, you also want to pay attention to the collaborations between two teams. There could be some new interesting idea or application born from the collaboration. If you use a matrix structure, the most important task for a project manager is to focus on team member training and increasing the communications among team members. As you can see on this slide, in a company with a matrix structure, when a new project starts, the project manager needs to get the team members from different departments. Many of the team members have probably never been in a project environment before. They have never met each other before. That's why it's so important for project manager to focus on new team member training and communications at this moment, so that the new team can get into their role as soon as possible. In a functional structure, a CEO usually plays a role as a project manager. As we mentioned in the previous lecture, project management has become a knowledge-intensive management process. However, a CEO's personal vision and knowledge could be very narrow. That's why it's very important for a CEO to inquire new ideas, comment feedback from the organizational members in a company with a functional structure. In addition to the internal organizational factors, a project manager should also take external factors into consideration. Those factors could include suppliers, distributors, and customers of our company. They are the stakeholders of our company, and eventually will become stakeholders of our projects to some degree. So it's very important for a project manager to engage them into a management process. That's why you can see a lot of management practices such as crowdsourcing were developed. Crowdsourcing is a way of engaging stakeholders into a project management at an early stage. Let's say we want to manufacture some smartphone. Instead of putting our design into manufacturing directly, we give several optional designs to the potential customers and let them vote which model they like the most. Then we only manufacture the customer's favorite. This method can bring several benefits to our project management. First, because we considered the customer's needs, what we offer would be what the customers wants in the market. Second, because we collected the customer's feedback, the sales revenues of our model could be much better compared to our competitors. These are the factors we want to consider in our project management process.